Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise. Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and today I'm joined by three local nonprofits, DuPagePads, the DuPage Foundation, and the Alive Center. You're watching Spotlight, and joining me now from DuPagePads is Jenaleigh Turner. Welcome to the show, Jenaleigh.
Thank you so much for having me.
Our pleasure. So let's talk a little bit about homelessness. This evening, let's just take tonight as an example. How many of our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness are you serving in your interim housing or your supportive housing units?
Tonight at our interim housing center, we're serving 300 folks. Before the pandemic, at our congregate site locations, we were only serving about 150 each night. So we're serving more all the time. At in our supportive housing sites, we have about 160 units that we rent throughout DuPage County, and we have about 250 residents in those programs.
It's a lot of neighbors.
It is a lot of neighbors.
And it's growing.
It's growing all the time.
Okay. Talk a little bit about what interim housing is.
You know, it's an innovative program. It's a brand new model. It's something very different that we're doing. So before the pandemic, we had these congregate site locations where we were moving night to night at our neighborhood churches and other partner locations where we were providing pads on the floor for folks who are experiencing homelessness. When the pandemic struck, we were no longer able to have congregate sites, and so we needed to provide individual locations, individual rooms for folks. That also provided us an opportunity to provide really individualized services. So now at the Interim Housing Center, where we purchased a hotel, what was formerly the Red Roof Inn in Downers Grove, in March 2022, we closed on that location, and now we can provide really comprehensive services. We found, which was most eye-opening, is we're able to serve more families and younger children even at this site. So we have education services and family enrichment activities, and we're able to provide more employment services so that we can really provide these families and individuals with more opportunities to secure stable housing opportunities and really move on from their experience of homelessness.
Yeah, I would think, and I can't imagine bringing my young children to a pad on the floor at a congregation. I would imagine that if I'm coming to more of a hotel location where there's a door that I can close, I would feel safer, right?
I would imagine. It is such an honor that we get to do this, that we get to provide a safe place for everyone. It's our mission. We believe that everyone deserves a home. And it provides us so much joy to give everyone an opportunity to have a set of keys. At the end of their stay, when we get to move folks into their own homes, we get to move individuals and families into supportive housing or into their own home in the community. It truly is such a momentous occasion for us when we get to provide them that opportunity.
I'm sure it is, and I'm sure it is for your clients also. Talk a little bit about the services you provide.
Yeah, so we provide a wide range of services. We have the Empowerment Center, which is a location where we can provide employment services. We are offering some groups and some other support services. We have case management and other services where we can help individuals and their families to really identify the opportunities that they need to obtain and maintain stable housing. But then we also have supportive housing, which is kind of a unique program too, where we can provide short-term and long-term, even permanent supportive housing, where we can provide housing for somebody for the rest of their lives without any limits. We can work with folks who were previously homeless for a very long time, and we can provide them housing for the rest of their lives so that they don't need to return to homelessness. And we're able to provide them those support services so they can stay stably housed.
Well, and I think, in terms of homelessness, there's so many reasons that people find themselves in homelessness. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, a lot of the populations that we serve, they experience mental illness or they experience other barriers. Sometimes it's intergenerational, and sometimes there are other barriers that maybe are outside of their control. A lot of the folks in our supportive housing programs, they have significant disabilities or other things that are keeping them from maintaining stable housing. So we're able to provide additional support services with our case management, and we're able to work with our partner providers in our community to make sure that they can stay independently living in the community.
Well, and that's what's so important, right, with those wraparound services. It's not just about putting a roof over someone's head, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The difference, and just again, I think I have it, but just for clarification, the difference between the interim housing and the supportive housing, just encapsulate that for me one more time.
Yeah, so our interim housing center is our emergency shelter where folks who are experiencing homelessness can come and stay, and they have a safe place where we can keep them fed and we can keep them staying for as long as they need until we can help them get into stable housing and they can get their own keys to their own place. We have some supportive housing programs which are short-term or rapid rehousing, and we have some supportive housing programs that are permanent where folks can stay long-term, where they get their own keys to their own apartment and we can provide them support services and a rent subsidy long-term.
Okay, so it's a continuum of services.
Truly.
How do people find you?
So they can go to our website and they can find more information about our programs and services and different ways to get involved.
Okay. And how can the community, I mean, it takes a village, right?
Truly.
Yeah. So give us some ideas of the many ways that community members could reach out and support what you're doing at DuPagePads.
Yeah, there are so many ways to get involved. We need lots of help. We have 300 folks that we need to feed every day at the Interim Housing Center. So we need help with meals, and we need help with laundry, and we need help with all kinds of odds and ends at the IHC. So we need lots of help from volunteers. We need help with advocacy and finding affordable housing in the community so that we can continue renting locations and providing supportive housing. And then, of course, we always need help with donors and donations and things like that. So anyone can go to our website to find more information about volunteer opportunities or to access our urgent needs list or to provide a donation so that we can use those funds to apply to the various needs for the folks that we serve.
So I want to just go back to that volunteerism because I feel like Naperville and DuPage County is really strongly in the volunteer spirit. Yeah. Give us a little bit, and you talked about maybe some of the different tasks that people could do, whether that's helping with food or laundry or anything. Is it most of your volunteers regular? Is it a one-off? Can people come as groups? Describe a little bit more of those volunteer experiences.
Yeah, so there are truly an infinite number of ways to volunteer. So we have a volunteer manager who can work with our volunteers. We have volunteer groups who come in and do one-off events where they help to beautify the IHC or to flip a room or to work on the different projects that we have on site. Or we have individuals or different folks who come in on a regular basis. We always need help organizing food and donations and things like that. So there is no wrong way to volunteer. We serve so many folks all throughout the year, and there are so many ways that we could use support throughout all the ways that we use our mission. Mm-hmm.
Well done to all of you at DuPagePads. The thought of having neighbors who are out, particularly in this cold weather right now, is something we don't want to think about, but something that we can do something about, right?
Certainly. We are so grateful for the support of our neighbors, and we are so grateful for all the ways that we are working together to make sure that everyone in our community has a home.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming by, Jenaleigh.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And if you're interested in learning more about DuPagePads, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Busey Bank is proud to partner in building business and growing wealth since 1868.
The Naperville Police Department needs your help to solve crime and bring offenders to justice. When you submit tips to Naperville Crime Stoppers, you help keep our city one of the safest in the nation. Tips to Naperville Crime Stoppers have helped solve hundreds of crimes and recover over $7 million in drugs, property, and cash. Remember, tipsters remain anonymous and receive cash rewards up to $1,000 if their tips lead to an arrest. Call the tip line at 630-420-6006. You may have that one piece of information that solves the crime.
nationally recognized, locally invested. Busey Bank is proud to be named among the 2022 America's Best Banks by Forbes.
If you're just tuning in, you're watching Spotlight. I'm your host, Jane Wernette, and joining me now from the DuPage Foundation are Kait and Nathan. So I'm excited to talk to you both because you've got a kind of interesting initiative going on over there. So Kait, I'm going to start with you. Tell us a little bit about the Next Generation Initiative and how it fits into the mission of the DuPage Foundation.
I would love to. So DuPage Foundation is DuPage County's philanthropic leader. We inspire to connect people of all ages throughout philanthropy in our community. So we do that in really three ways: by working with organizations and individuals on their charitable giving plans, making sure that they're giving efficiently and effectively to the causes they love, by providing critical support to our grantees and other organizations in our community, and by leading on key issues in our county. Our Next Generation Initiative works to engage and empower the next gen of philanthropic leaders in our community by providing opportunities to connect, learn, and give back. So Nathan and I will talk a little bit more about some of those opportunities as we chat.
Excellent. Well, and that's an interesting, so I'm going to bop over here to Nathan.
Yeah.
Why is Next Generation philanthropy so important?
So our Next Generation Initiative members tend to be from a variety of ages and backgrounds, but
Define that. Like what kind of age?
yeah, so it tends to be, our core tends to be in Millennial and Gen X, but that
Okay.
said, it's open to anybody who's looking to, what we say, build their philanthropic muscle. And
Okay.
so what we find is that if we can engage with those folks, early on, like any habit, it takes some time to kind of build toward that as a routine. And the advantage of something like NGI is what we call pooled giving. And so we take those donations, we take those efforts, and by combining them together, we can really make a powerful impact. And it's thinking about other opportunities to give back. And so one of our recent events, we had a clothing drive, and that led to over 200 pieces of clothing donated just by making another simple ask as part of a fun social event.
Yeah, I love that. I love the sort of, training the muscle, because I think it's like most things in our life, right? We learn a lot of stuff early.
Yeah.
And what we didn't learn early, we have a harder time learning later on in life. So
Exactly.
I love that. Kait, talk a little bit about kind of the impact that you feel you're having. I mean, Nathan kind of mentioned the coat drive, but talk a little bit
Yeah.
about some of the other impact you feel you're having in the community.
So I crunched the numbers before I came here this afternoon, and we have given out about $100,000 just through NGI alone in the past 5 years to about 20 grantees throughout our community.
Well done.
And in addition to that critical operating support that we provide, unrestricted operating support that we provide, we also give our grantees an opportunity to speak in front of our membership and attendees at our events, and a ready group of volunteers to roll up their sleeves for a project. We're trying to connect our grantee organizations with their future leaders.
Yeah, I like that. And those speaking engagements are important, right? I mean, they're important for the person giving them, because sometimes it's good to kind of practice that mission statement and practice your evangelization around your mission, but so important for people to hear about it and get better educated.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you, and I kind of want to follow up on that piece on volunteerism, because that's an important part of philanthropy, right?
I think so. Part of being involved in your community is, rolling up your sleeves and getting into it. So whether you're serving on a committee, like Nathan is a steering committee member for NGI, or you're volunteering, setting up a garden bed, or working at a food bank, to give back, part of that is money and time, and some of that is just getting involved.
Yeah.
And it's hard to prioritize that, right? When you're in a beginning of a busy career, maybe have little kids at home. So having 3 or 4 times a year where it's, a part of this group that you belong to really helps kind of force it in a little way to make sure you prioritize it on your
Gives
calendar.
it a little structure, right? Yeah. Nathan, talk a little bit, if some of our viewers were thinking, gosh, I'm kind of liking what they're talking about. How would I get involved?
Yeah, it's as easy as coming to one of our events. We do quarterly events, and we also have our charity trivia that's coming up, but really it comes down to that, and our memberships begin at $100.
Okay.
And so for the year, that funds our activities, that funds our grant making. And as Kait mentioned, it gives an opportunity at each event to learn about an organization and what their cause is. And what I found is, my first event was charity trivia a few years ago. It took me, I think, 2 or 3 years past that to put together a winning team. But
just a little,
just a little play there, just
a little aside, right? But certainly it was because of that first event I was hooked.
Yeah.
And so an opportunity to have some fun and learn about organizations doing good in my community and how I can make an impact with them, that really kept me coming back. And so every year I look forward to that email about, hey, the next charity trivia is coming up, and I'm ready. I'm coming. I'm going to take it back.
He just wants to win again.
Yeah. I think there was some of that going on too. Where do you usually meet? Just for
we try and rotate. So DuPage Foundation is
Right.
countywide, as is NGI, and so we rotate our events throughout the communities, trying to kind of make sure it's close to you one time and maybe a little farther the next.
Okay, so Nathan's our trivia winner, and he's looking for other people to maybe knock him off the podium for this time around. So when is your next event? Because it's coming up pretty soon, right?
Yes, it's just next month on February 2nd at Empire in Naperville. So we are thrilled to be back in person after a couple years online. It's a fierce competition. Think about it as like, your fun bar trivia in your neighborhood with a bit of a twist. So we always have to bring philanthropy into the conversation. And so the winning team, which hopefully Nathan has fierce competition for, gets the opportunity to recommend a grant to their favorite DuPage charity.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's great. So winning with an impact, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we know who the challenger is. We've got eyeballs on him. Nathan, talk a little bit about some of the other events that you do throughout the year.
Yeah, of course. So we have our quarterly social events that run on April and June and also September. And so each event really is an opportunity for a not-for-profit to showcase what they're about. And so what we really find is, there's kind of a moment of magic when that person who's representing the organization steps up and shares a story and talks about the impact that they're making. And it's just such a connecting event. To be there, you feel that connection to them because they're doing the work here in DuPage. And so it's an opportunity to learn about what they're doing, connect with other people in your community, and really just get a sense for how you can make an impact as well.
Well, listen, obviously you two have been incredible ambassadors for what you're doing with the Next Generation Initiative. It's so exciting to think about young professionals coming to the table of philanthropy. So kudos to you for all the good work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Absolutely. To find out more about the DuPage Foundation and the Next Generation Initiative, please go and visit their website. We're going to take a quick break, but stay tuned. We're coming right back with more Spotlight.
Growing your family, opening your own business, retiring to travel, leaving your legacy. At Busey Bank, we know there's a lot to look forward to and a lot of planning along the way. Celebrate your life's milestones by putting your money to work. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Proud to be the official bank of the Fighting Illini. Member FDIC.
Welcome back to Spotlight. And joining me now from the Alive Center are Gray Bauer and Alicia Mathew. So it's really nice to have both of you with me. And I'm going to start right out with you, Gray. Talk a little bit about how the Alive Center embraces diversity.
Of course. So Alive is just completely diverse as a whole, from our staff members to our interns to our teen advisory board that me and Alicia are both on, to even the teens that we serve during our drop-in program. We hit every mark: race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, disabilities, all of it. It's pretty hard for me to put it into words what it's like, because people are constantly asking me, Gray, how is Alive so diverse? And I never know what to tell them. Just like, we just are. It's just in our nature. It's just who we are as a community. I started going to Alive in 2020 for the Live with Pride summer camp. And the first time I walked in, I just felt the sense of comfort. I felt like it was a place where I could belong, be myself, no strings attached, and just easily fit into the place. And after that, I was just there constantly. I was there all the time after camp ended for drop-in. And, I've had so many amazing opportunities, like this, for instance, I also got to speak at our Mardi Gras gala this past May with my mom. So that was amazing. You know, I've met so many amazing people, our staff members, our interns, volunteers, made incredible friends like Alicia. And it's such an amazing, diverse place, and I can't wait to see where it takes me next.
Yeah, well, I think you just encapsulated why it's so diverse, because it's so welcoming, right? And I think that makes such a difference if you feel like it's a place that everybody can walk through the door. Talk a little bit, Alicia, about how the Alive Center fosters kind of a sense of teamwork and inclusivity with people from all backgrounds, all teens from all backgrounds.
Of course. So we focus a lot on teen-led, teen-driven, and a lot of that is just teens fostering a safe space for other teens. And that's encouraged a lot in our Teen Advisory Board, which again, Gray and I are both part of. So our Teen Advisory Board, we have over 5 high schools represented in our Teen Advisory Board across Naperville. All these high schools, they have a lot of different kids. They're from all sorts of different backgrounds. And when we come together to perform our duties and to learn about each other in the Teen Advisory Board, we have leadership opportunities, we have speakers that come in to talk to us, and throughout all of this, the main focus is that we communicate with each other, we collaborate, and we get to know each other. So although everyone in Alive, we're all from different backgrounds, we're all different people, we all have the safe space to become friends and to get to know each other, and that's what makes Alive really, really special.
Yeah, and I think as you talk about teen-driven, teen-led, right, you're kind of single-minded in your purpose. So sometimes it can be really helpful to be focused, to bring everybody together, right?
Right.
Yeah. Great. Talk a little bit about a time maybe at Alive where you felt like you were really supported.
There are so many different examples I could use. For me personally, I have been supported since the second I walked in, you know, with Alive with Pride, which is the program that I run, which I got to take over after my first year there for the summer camp. Everyone is just, as I said earlier, everyone's just so welcoming and kind, and there's so much support within the community as a whole. And whether you're doing a program or you want to do something during drop-in, it's just support everywhere, and everyone's just, yeah, go for it. Like, do what you want to do. Like, we're here for you.
Nice. Talk a little bit, because you mentioned a couple of times the drop-in. So let's just help us understand what that is.
So drop-in is our program for teens in 5th through 12th grade to come after school, hang out, meet other people, do a bunch of fun activities, you know, gain life skills, just get out of the house. You know, it's an environment away from school. We have our lounge where we have a bunch of video games and board games, our art room, which we have pretty much every art supply you can imagine in there, even though it's not the biggest space. We have our kitchen, which always provides free food for teens if they need it or just want a snack after school. We have our large studio where typically we play some sports in there like volleyball or dodgeball. And then you have our admin side where all our staff members are working, or interns over there sometimes. And then our sim lab where a lot of our programs take place, and our tab meetings run in there as well.
Okay. Pretty cool place.
Pretty cool place.
Pretty cool place. Alicia, give us an example from your experience.
Of course. So I was really nervous when I first joined TAB, especially because I'm a sophomore this year and I wasn't involved with Alive in my freshman year. But the minute I got here, all the staff were incredibly welcoming. Before our current Alive Teen Initiative lead, we had a different person named Jeff, and he immediately reached out to me and made sure that I felt welcome in the environment. We worked on, actually, I ran a camp over the summer called the Youth for SciTech STEM Summer Immersive Camp, and I was able to work with a lot of adult leads, such as Jeff and many other people at Alive, and they really gave me the support that I needed to feel like I belonged in this community. In addition to that, just like having the people there who care about you, even outside of the camps, even within TAB, the Teen Advisory Board, even just in drop-in, having those adults there who support you and make you feel like you want to belong in that environment, that's just one thing that's really helped me.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because I think it's always, you know, we always are having opportunities to, maybe things aren't going quite so well at home or with the sibling or with our in-group of friends, right? So nice to have some other adults in your life that you feel safe and you feel that you can communicate with. Great. Talk a little bit. You've got some pretty cool LGBTQ plus programming going on at the Alive Center. So talk a little bit about some of the things, some of those programs and what they look like.
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned earlier, I'm the lead for Alive with Pride, which is a program for teens in 5th through 12th grade who identify in the LGBTQ plus community. It's my second year leading the program, so I've been able to see how, teens interact with each other, how they interact with me, areas that they're more comfortable in or areas they might be struggling in. Like, for instance, we had our summer camp over the summer, last week of June. I had this teen, Miles. He, was sitting in the corner in the art room, not talking to anyone. You could clearly tell that he was really hesitant about being there and it was completely outside of his comfort zone. But by the end of the week, he made friends with all the other teens. He was participating in all the activities we were doing, and he just started loving it, which is one of the things that I love, as I previously mentioned, just the support and the community that we have at Alive.
So you felt like you were supported, which is nice, and you paid that forward by supporting Miles.
Exactly.
Yeah, well done for you.
Thank you.
Alicia, so teens are listening and they're thinking, wow, this sounds like a pretty cool place with a lot of neat programming. How do I get involved? How do I find out more?
Of course. So the first thing that you have to do is obviously just reach out to people. You know us now, so definitely reach out to people at Alive. Reach out to us if you can. When I joined Alive, again, I was just getting into it. I didn't really know what I was getting into, but I have to tell you that it's worth it. Take a look at our website, the Alive Teen Center. It's always a rewarding experience to do your research and to know whether or not something's right for you. And I can assure you that if you do your research, if you get more information, Alive will be a good fit for you. So if you want to be involved, please check out our website.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, thank you both so much for stopping by. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. And if you would like more information about the Alive Center, please go and visit their website. I'd like to thank all of my guests for joining us today on Spotlight, and our friends at Busey Bank for their generous sponsorship of today's show. To learn more about the organizations featured on this episode, please go and visit our website at nctv17.org. And to stay informed about what's happening in our community, sign up to receive our daily news update and like and follow us on Facebook. For Spotlight, I'm Jane Wernette. Thank you for watching. Today's Spotlight is brought to you in part by presenting sponsor, Busey Bank. Busey, your dream, our promise.